Hello, everyone on Zoom and Facebook. I'm Naomi, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to this expert panel, where we'll be talking about English skills for an interconnected world as part of the ASEAN Teaching English Online Conference 2025. Before we start, I've got a few housekeeping items to go over. Please use the chat for general comments and feedback. And if you have questions for the speakers, please use the Q&A box, which you'll find down the bottom. If you put questions in the chat, they can get lost. Your microphone and cameras will be off throughout the whole session. Certificates of attendance are available for everybody as editable PDFs after you complete the feedback form at the end of the session. We'll share a link at the end of the session, and Zoom participants will also find it in their follow-up email. So don't worry about certificates. We'll let you know at the end how to get them. For everyone's safety and well-being, please be respectful in the chat and avoid posting any personal details, such as email addresses or phone numbers, or any commercial links. If you have any safeguarding concerns, please contact safeguarding@britishcouncil.org. Now, please note that this session is being recorded and live streamed on both Zoom and Teaching English Asia Facebook. And by joining us, you're agreeing to be part of this recording. So without any further ado, let's get started. So today we're going to be hearing from three speakers: Dr. Icha Hodija from Indonesia, Lê Thanh Ha from Vietnam, and Ong Min Pang from Myanmar. And that will be followed by a question and answer session. Okay, let me stop sharing my slides now. Oh, I think I forgot to move on to the last one. Sorry, there's everyone's faces, beautiful faces. My apologies. Okay, now let me introduce our first speaker here. We're going to be hearing from Ong Min Pang, who's a teacher trainer, speaking examiner, and training coordinator at Green Tower Institute, as well as a freelance writer. And on top of all that, they're currently studying for an MA in applied linguistics while completing the Delta. So Pang will be giving us a broad overview of some of the many English skills we might need in this interconnected world. Pang, over to you.
Thank you, Naomi. And hi, everyone. I'm Bai, and it's an honor to be part of the Asian Teaching English Online Conference 2020. And today, globalized and digitally connected world. English is more than just a language, and it's a bridge for communication and collaboration and cultural exchange. Our learners need not only linguistic accuracy, but also ability to use English meaningfully in diverse global contexts. This presentation, actually, I won't share my screen. I'll be title would be for English Skills for Interconnected World. From teaching multilingual classes to developing skills for global citizens and intercultural understanding. Well, first of all, there be a framework. For this framework, it be 4 key areas. The first areas is communicative and intercultural skills and integration of the 4 skills across subjects. Next, which is learners' autonomy and critical thinking. Well, last but not the least, which is teacher as a facilitator for future-ready learners. Well, these pillars reflect the needs to balance language, skills, and values in English education. So, in my teaching context, learners often use outside the classroom through social media, for example, Facebook, online games, Kahoot and Quizlet, sometimes mobile internet as well, and YouTube and collaboration platforms. Well, these informal environments allow students and our learners to communicate across cultures and learn authentic expressions as well. And also build confidence in real life communication. Well, so as teachers, our goal is to bridge classroom learning with these real-world English experience. So now it is for integrating 21st century skills to prepare learners for an interconnected world. We must integrate 21st century skills. The first one is collaboration. The second one, critical thinking. Next, creativity and communication within our lessons. According to the scholars in 2009, these competencies are essential for success in the global age. Well, and also Swain 1980 reminds us that communicative competences involves not only grammar, it also sociolinguistic and strategic skills, and it's really crucial for English as a lingua franca. English is not the subject only; it also really important for us to communicate, like right now even. And in Asian context, many classrooms are multilingual. For example, my first language is not English. So to ensure inclusion, we can apply, first of all, translanguaging practices. It allows us and then the learners to use their first language strategically to build understanding. There are some situations we may not be able to use English only because of some limitations. For example, learners learn understanding, or maybe our language grading, or possibly there may be some teachers who may not be express their language knowledge to target language. And one more point for inclusive strategies in multilingual classroom is scaffolding and differentiated instructions. Those are really important for lower level learners, teachers, and also young learner teachers. So to be able to support learners at various proficiency levels, in 2000, one of the scholars supported the use of scaffolding and differentiated instructions. We as the teachers should use those approaches to be able to help our learners. Well, this is for fostering learners' autonomy. So while we know our learners' autonomy, we know our learners' needs. So this is time to foster our learners' autonomy. Developing learners' autonomy, it empowers us and learners to take ownership of their learning. We can achieve this through, the first one is task-based learning. So where language is learned through meaningful tasks and project-based learning, it will encourage creativity and collaboration. So here too, the first one is task-based learning, TBL, and the second one is project-based learning. So those two activities are selected to foster learners' autonomy. Both methods cultivate independent, reflective learners who can continue learning beyond the classroom. Well, so we've focused on fostering learners' autonomy. So then now it's time for promoting intercultural competence. To be able to promote intercultural competence, in 1997, one scholar emphasized that learner must develop empathy and openness and curiosity about other culture. We, as teacher, can promote by using authentic material such as interviews, podcasts, and short films. When it comes to thinking about authentic material, some of the teachers said that we'd be able to use BBC magazines, Guardian magazines, and when I was even doing my CELTA, I used one music video, which is by Taylor Swift, and the song's name is Enchanted. actually, the outcome is the learners, they were quite engaging with the authentic materials. So to be able to promote intercultural competence, we'll be able to use authentic materials as well. And next, this is for encouraging perspective-taking activities as well, such as culture comparison, task, and role play. Sometimes instead of teachers talking every single thing in front of the class, we should help them and encourage them to share their cultural perspective and comparison as well. Next, which is adapting assessment for skills development. Traditional testing is great, but it doesn't always reflect on the 21st century competences. How we can adopt our assessment for 21st century skills could be alternative assessment, for example, portfolio assessment. Personally, I had a research paper which is about the portfolio assessments and writing. Those reflect as to see more and more learners' opinion and learners' development vividly and clearly. And next, it's reflection journals and peer feedback. Those would help us to see learners' perspective, learners' development, learners' progress. While to be able to use formative feedback and those alternative assessment, by using them, those can support continuous growth. This shift allowed assessment to become a tool for learning, which is not just measurement. It is kind of seeing what is the learner's improvement. Well, to be able to encourage global citizenship, finally, English teaching can contribute to global citizenship. We can integrate topics such as sustainability and ethics in lessons. Intercultural dialogues and global issues such as climate change and equality will help global citizenship as well. Through this, English became a medium for change, helping learners engage critically with the world. We, last but not the least, as a teacher, we have our own roles to facilitate our learners to be able to encourage, foster, activate their knowledge. So our role evolves from knowledge transmitters, presenter to facilitator. Those who can create authentic communication experience, integrate technology and real world connect. And also, last but not the least, which is encouraging intercultural empathy and critical reflection. Our classroom became spaces where language meets life and where learners grow as thoughtful global citizens. Closing, to conclude, teacher English today is not just about measuring and mastering grammar and vocabulary. It's about preparing learners for real world communication and cultural understanding and lifelong learning. As we move forward, continue to collaborate, innovate so that, English in education Asian truly reflects the spirit of connection, first of all, and inclusion, next, and transformation. Well, to be able to conclude my presentations, the first one is communication. When it comes to communication, integrate English in 21st century skills. And please create more and more about inclusive strategies in multilingual classroom, like translanguage and practices and scaffolding would be significant ways to use it back. Next, which is fostering learners' autonomy. We should not ignore learners' autonomy in our lessons. TBL and PBL, they would be quite crucial when it comes to thinking about learners' autonomy and involvement. Next, which is promoting intercultural competence. please be mindful to use authentic material. Those could motivate our learners to be able to see the world, how it is going on, and how the English language is crucial every single day. And make sure we should not be using traditional assessment testing every single time. Continuous assessment, self-actualization, and also peer feedback would be quite beneficial for them as well. And in creating global citizenship would be helping sustainability and also intercultural dialogue as well. We teachers should not be taking as the role of a teacher every single time, like presenter, transmitter. We should be the one who is facilitating the class, encouraging our learners, trying to understand our learners as well. So thank you everyone for listening to me, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bang. That was really interesting. I think we have the basis for about 20 different talks there. So thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to focus in a little bit more. Now we're going to hear from Ha. So let me introduce you to Lê Thang Ha, who's currently working at the Foreign Trade University in Vietnam. As well as working, she's also a PhD candidate at Hanoi University of Languages and International Studies. And her research interests include language and identity and student engagement. And today she's going to be talking to us about how we can use visible thinking routines to improve student engagement and build critical thinkers. So I think that sounds fascinating. Ha, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it has been lovely to be here with you all today. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint a bit. And this session, I think I'm going to draw on some practical practices that I have been tested and succeeded in my classroom. So thank you very much for Peng, who have introduced the thinking and autonomy aspect of language learning and teaching. And then I think I'm going to build up on that. So for this one, as teachers, I'm going to say that we are language teachers, but a lot of the time, it's going to be difficult to actually promote the thinking culture in the classroom. At the beginning, I have to say that if we really actually trying to incorporate this thinking culture, it's gonna have certain challenges. So it's probably gonna have more time. There will be more question from the student, and then that question from student can be over the top, and they can be crazy, and it's going to be difficult to handle. So more risk for the teacher, but at the same time, it gonna means that they're gonna remember for a longer time. So the knowledge, the information gonna stick. There will be more interesting ideas sharing, circulating in the classroom. And of course, what we really hope for is a critical and creative thinking building for the future of our student. So my solution for this promoting culture, thinking culture, is going to make thinking visible. So it is going to be visible for the student, for them to see how their thinking flow. And also it is visible for us as teachers to see what happened in those little brains. So I'm going to share with you some short and easy to learn routines. So it is simple and mini strategies, and in a way that is going to minimize the preparation for teachers. And I know that we are busy. So teachers, we are super busy. And then so this one, it is near to no prep, and also with a lot of repetition. It can be repeated across the curriculum, across content, and it means that students have chances to practice inside the classroom, and it is easy and simple, so they can bring outside of the classroom and use it for the topic that they actually very interested in. Right. So these visible routines, I'm going to have 3 categories. They are going to loosely guide the learner's thought process. The first one is going to be some prompt. The second one is to encourage more question. And the last one is some strategy to provide space and time for thinking, right? So the first one, which is going to be some prompts, these one can be used across topic, right? So first thing I'm going to do is like have a picture, a thought-provoking kind of picture, and provide this prompt. I see, I think, and I wonder. So with these starter, they are going to sit down, work with their partner, maybe in a small group of 3 or 4, and they can write down or speak to each other. But it gonna be and I can use I use this prompt actually like very quite frequently and make it into a habit, make it into a routine in my own classroom. So whenever they see a picture or whenever they see like a new topic, then they are going to describe it. I see, then they are going to have some thought about it, something that cannot be seen in the picture, but may be depicted. And the last one is what question they might have. So what else they want to know more, that later on the teacher can provide the answer, or they can actually like Google it for the answer. So this is actually my favorite thinking routine, and I use it actually like very much often. The second one is 3, 2, 1. So they are going to talk about 3 facts, 2 questions, and 1 opinion. Again, it works on many topics. And I'm going to choose like a certain prompt. I just put it on the board. I'm going to give them like a piece of paper, or if you got a nice resources, then probably markers and color pencil, and then a piece of poster. It's gonna look like really great. So this is the second one that I also very much like really like into it. Next one, when we start to have student building argument, then this one claim supporting question is a great tool. So for example, I'm going to have a topic of mobile ban, then is this about reading or listening? Then they are going to read and identify the claim in the support, which is presented in the text. But later on, it's gonna be about the question. What else is not there? What else can be added? And if they gonna have like a higher level of argument making, then we can use the claim explanation, reason, and we are going to have the last one, which is gonna be like counter argument. Finally, this one is also very interesting when we teach language and at the same time we teach perspective taking. So the same topic about mobile ban in school, but I'm going to use the true for who. So we got different viewpoints and reasons from different perspectives, from different stakeholders. So teachers, what they think about that, parents, students, and phone companies, what they think about it. And then so we can ask students to sit down and think about it with some sentence starter that we provide them at the beginning, but it is on their own, and then with their friends to work on this one. So that is the first one that I want to talk about, like simple sentence starter, simple thinking prompt that I can use from like various topic and content. So I'm going to be flexible in this one and choose the best one for the topic that I'm going to introduce. Right. The second part is to encourage students to ask more questions. So I think this one is especially important because as teacher, we mostly ask questions and students to be the one who answer. But for this one, for this point, I want to emphasize the importance of like making question as one of the critical thinking. So it is also about we passing the power from we, the teachers, and pass the power to the student. So they feel more agency and autonomy. And there are some question starter that I would encourage my student to start with. The first step is going to like me introduce the topic. But after that, instead of me asking the question, I'm going to ask the student to ask the question. So they can sit down and craft some question based on some certain module that I provide. And later on, it is not about having the right or wrong answer, but it is about having really good question. Right? So some question we might answer it, some may not. But well, the key here is that they have some chances to practice with critical thinking. And it really depends on the level of the student, that what kind of question that I would have. For lower level, I'm going to start easy with 5W and 1H. So for example, I'm going to have a topic of, I don't know, maybe climate change, and then we can talk about tigers in Asia, right? So they are going to sit down and just draft out question 5-6 question on that one. For higher level, I might start asking them to have more critical thinking kind of question. So maybe avoid question that only have the answer of yes or no, but moving on to question of why and how, right? So the question of why, 3 why here, I might ask them to practice giving the question on like why it might matter to themselves and why it might matter to people around them, or why it might matter to the world. And some creative question, this one are the one that I really, really enjoy. And it is fun. It is fun, and it kind of like break the ice from the beginning. So they can ask crazy question. And well, we just step back and observe. My personal favorite is going to be like, what's the wrong way to? So the one that I just highlight yellow here, it is really fun. So usually we are going to ask like, what is the good way? What is the best way? But maybe asking the wrong way, like for example, what is the wrong way to reduce the amount of electricity use in the house? So when they think like in the opposite way, so maybe somehow the creative solution might pop up later on. It's more about asking the interesting question. They might try again, they might try to answer the question and maybe not. But it is more about what kind of new ideas they can have about the topic and the concept or the object that they really didn't think about it before. And I'm going to move on to the last part, which this one is more about we as teacher change the way we approach teaching and learning. So a lot of the time, especially in this time of AI, of mobile phone, of internet, of instant answer and instant gratification, then maybe what students really need is a slower routine. Maybe some time of silence instead of like constant noise and constant idea and constant talking. Then a moment of silently considering the ideas and question or problem and responding to others, again in silence. So I think this part is about our teachers wait a little bit longer, step back a little bit, and probably we are going to allow learning to happen instead of providing them the answer. So I'm going to start with a prompt again on a large sheet of chart or paper or on the board. And it depends on how big the class is. But it can be a group of 3 or 4, or if it is a small group, we can have like a big poster and then sticker and color pencil, which is going to be great. There will be no talking, but a lot of writing and a lot of thinking. So they can write down their thinking or question on the pieces of paper, and they can stick it up or write it down. They might circle interesting ideas from their friends and writing question and add comment to others people, and then they can draw lines to connecting ideas. So similar idea or contrasting idea, everything is work in silence, but it is in a way that because they cannot speak it out, so they need to write down, and writing is thinking. So it is slower, it takes more time, but they can organize their idea in the head and writing it down and see maybe some problem in their own thinking or some problem in their own writing. And then so it is called the chalk talk, which means that they're talking but in silence, right? So writing on the board. So this one is for my personal favorite in a way that teacher ourselves can step back and allow learning to happen, be a learning enabler. So not just a knowledge transmitter, as Peng mentioned at the beginning, but we actually just create a space and time for students to have time for thinking and reflect. And we step back and observe and help whenever we have to. And that is the 3 ideas. Oh, and Chat Talk can be done online. If you deliver online classes, then Canva is a great. So this one, I use it with Canva. So you can see this one like a topic, and then people just ask question. This bubble is like people asking question. And yeah, they can connect and draw lines on online classes as well. It can be done online or offline like really well. And then so that is my last bit. And it is my belief that visible thinking routine really help to cultivate thinking skill and deepen content learning. So we can have it simple, but it works for a various type of class size and for various student level. And I really hope that this idea going to help you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ha. That was fantastic. I think we got loads of ideas in such a short amount of time there. So brilliant. Okay, and I'm sure we'll have lots of questions about this at the end. But next we have our final speaker, Dr. Icha Hodija from Indonesia, who is an independent ELT specialist. She's got a master's degree from Warwick University and a PhD in English education. With more than 40 years of experience, her fields of expertise include curriculum and materials development, assessment, English for young learners, and professional development. And she's going to be looking at mindfulness in EFL teaching and how we can use this transformative competency. So Icha, over to you. I'm really excited to hear all about this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. May I share my... Good afternoon, everyone. Have you seen my slide? Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, the 2 previous speakers talked about engagement. Ha was talking about how she engaged the students, and Pang also talking about the importance of engagement in order that students can participate in the real world, in using their authentic language in the classroom. And behind that, we have to think of teacher presence in EFL context. English as a foreign language context is like in Indonesia and probably other countries around, neighboring countries. So I look at mindfulness at the end as one of the most important, if I may say, before other competencies that English language teachers in EFL context need to have. And I look at it as a transformative competency for present moment, because present moment students need to engage in the real conversation, in the real world. And especially in ASEAN context, the lingua franca of ASEAN is English. And therefore, it's very important to have a class that full of engagement, students are confident, and Pang mentioned about students' ownership on their own learning, because learning English doesn't stop in the classroom. It has to go beyond the classroom. So here, beyond expertise, what makes a teacher transformative? Not just grammar, pronunciation, or pedagogy. Mindfulness, I would say, is about teacher presence in the class, awareness, and responsiveness. Which these three are the component of making the students engage in the classroom, because when the teacher present in the classroom, students will feel secure because they know, the students know that there will be somebody to help them. Teachers awareness, teachers aware of their own English, mindful of their own level of English, and also mindful and aware of the student situation, students' background, responsiveness. To encourage engagement, responsiveness of the teacher especially is very important. Respond in their body language, response in a verbal communicative language. As long as the students get response, they will feel more confident. So teaching begins not with the content, but with consciousness, the student's consciousness as well as the teacher's consciousness. So mindfulness in this case is about conscious awareness, aware and being there. So first of all is awareness of self, awareness of the teacher themselves, awareness of the tone, awareness of their pacing in using the language, and most of all is the emotional states. I can imagine teaching in a crowded class, in junior in a lower secondary, in upper secondary, in countries like Indonesia, and probably I know a little bit in the Philippines, in the Vietnam, is, need a little bit of patience and being there and being aware of our own emotional state. Another awareness is awareness of the students. I'm happy that Pine mentioned about differentiated instruction, because students come to class with different level of readiness, different level of learning culture from their family, different effect because they have different personalities. Then some students take whatever that the teachers say differently from one to another. And awareness of the interactions. Teachers need to be aware of the whole situation in the classroom, looking at all students very carefully and observe everyone in order that they are confident in taking risk in the classroom. Silence. Sometimes we think that students who are silent are not able to understand or cannot engage in the classroom, while actually those silent students just need a little bit encouragement. So mindfulness of a teacher is very important, because teaching English in EFL context is emotionally challenging because of the students' self-confidence, challenging because, different level of language competencies, and even different level of literacy, and even different level of, motivation. And this is emotionally challenging. So that's why mindfulness is really matters in EFL classroom. EFL classrooms need more than language, because learners face anxiety, fear of error, low confidence. Without mindful teachers in the classroom, then it's hard to improve the quality of engagement in the classroom. So, Ha mentioned different kind of techniques in the classroom that really need teachers to be there and help the students to improve their confidence and willing enough take a risk. One, mindful teachers notice emotional clues, and mindful teacher respond with empathy. Mindful teachers notice emotional cues, in this case, looking at students who are too active or too passive, and then respond with empathy. Create safe spaces for risk taking. Learning language is risky, very risky, because when we make mistakes, other students might look at us and we are being mocked by other students, and you know, and they just stop talking. So teachers need to be mindful in creating safe spaces for students to take risk. So when teachers are fully present, students feel they are seen and understood. And that is the beginning of confidence. So, in language classroom, first of all, confidence is one of the most important aspects that should be encouraged by the teacher. And mindful teacher who are present in the classroom will give opportunity for students to feel confident. So presence in practice, there are three dimensions of mindful teaching. First of all, is dimension of self, students, and interaction. Dimension of self is about language use, emotional tone, and it will give impact to the model's clarity and calm, and help the students to go through their learning journey patiently. It's not easy, it's not simple, and therefore, to be self-aware of their own language use and emotional tone is very important. And then in the student's dimension, uh, teachers need to be aware of their needs, their background, and their mood. And in this case, this will with teachers' mindfulness, then it will build trust and relevance. Interaction, in the dimension of interaction, teachers develop tasks which help all students to be active in order that the flow of the activity in the classroom um, is even, is fair. All students have the opportunity to try. All students have the opportunity not to be looked down by their peers, and then teachers give clear feedback in order that the students know how to improve themselves and know how to correct themselves. And this will foster uh, engagement in the classroom. So let's look at mindfulness in action. Number one, be aware of teachers' language competencies. Teachers in EFL context, they have English background, but then English in the classroom is English for the purpose of facilitating the learning, which needs a little bit of strategies to use our language in order that the students involved in the classroom mindfully and can English language which are used in the classroom at the same time at the same time improve their thinking and their collaboration and their creativity, because the teacher's language has a very important role in this case. I'm not against trans language, but then when teachers use more English, then the students will engage in thinking in English. Begin with a pause or intention setting. Teachers need to pause to give opportunity for all students, to silent students, to shy students, to less confident students. Use observation journal. Teachers need to have notes of the students who need attention. in order that the teachers can provide helps for the students who need help in order to improve their motivation and their confidence. Practice wait time. And this often teachers propose question, then are not patient enough to wait until students give answer, then teachers provide the answers. So deep listening is very important in English language teaching in EFL context. Design tasks that invite reflection, tasks which gradually uh, help the students to understand their own mistakes, their own weaknesses, and their own strength. So I'm happy again for Pine explaining about differentiated instructions. And then beware of classroom language use. Classroom language use because it may impact to the students' readiness, to the students' feelings and emotion states. Last but not least, always improve communication skill, because unless teachers improve their communication skills, then it's not easy to come to class and get the students able to communicate, to engage in communication. So teach with presence, not just performance. Mindfulness is not an add-on to pedagogy. It is the pedagogy itself. Reflect before reacting and listen before correcting and be present before performing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Itcha. That was fantastic. I think there's a lot for us to take away and think about there. So if everyone would like to turn their cameras on now, we'll have a question and answer session. We have so many great questions from the audience here that I don't think we're going to have a chance to get through all of them today, but let's make a start. Regarding authentic materials, I think this one is moving for Bang. Is from Rolando. He asks, is writing personal journeys and diaries considered a good authentic material?
Oh, well, can you tell me again? And the very first question is like, what could be the ways that to be able to use the low resource material, especially in the rural area? Am I right?
Oh yeah, that was a different one, but we could if you'd like to answer that one as well, yes. Yeah, that's a great question, actually, if you'd like to answer that. So this is from Daniel then. As someone who's provided training in disadvantaged and remote areas, I found authentic materials are not always available. So what else can we do?
Oh, well, that's what the term that I have used before is low resource material. So I've two time experience of giving training, especially in the rural area and kind of like in the campsite. And the way how I used it, instead of like you are presenting using PowerPoint slides and the other visual clues, what we can possibly use is like flip chart papers and kind of hands-on activity. Sometimes we'll be able to use the like materials from the newspapers and magazines and cut it off and anyhow. Those are things that we'll be able to use. But one thing I would remind you is to check the language usage. Since they are quite authentic, it's totally hard. It won't be for every single learners, every single person in the training as a participant, but it would kindly be for generally, maybe fine. But what we should be aware of is the language usage. Sometimes we need to be grading the language usage and and also the task as well. So without understanding those areas, it would be kind of over challenging for the participant. Like right now. So since I didn't show the PowerPoint slide, it's totally hard for them to get the visual clues and understand it right away.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm,
that's a really good example.
mhm.
Ha or Itche, do you have any thoughts on authentic materials in a very low resource context where it's hard to get a hold of them?
Yes. I think may I jump in?
Please, please,
Yes.
yes.
I think what we always mean by authentic materials is not always authentic that in real life. But more than that, it's authentic in a sense that this language is used in the real life, and it can be mini non-authentic but authentic. uh
Yeah.
mini dialogue or mini short movie, which is not authentic, but we make it, but because the language used in the short movie is authentic, then I call that as authentic. Because it's been a long debate in the past about authenticity in terms of materials.
Mm.
When not like now with all the digital and materials from the internet. In the past, we were thinking of newspapers, etc. And it was really, really hard for lower level students. But now, with the help of AI, we can develop authentic materials, simple, authentic materials, which is non-authentic.
Brilliant, yes. And I think we have a couple of sessions coming up later this conference where we'll be looking at AI. So hopefully the audience will get some ideas for creating those materials in those sessions. Okay, I'd like to move on now to a question for Ha about the visible thinking routines. A couple of people asked about time management around the using these routines in classes. This seemed to be a popular topic. So how do you manage time with these routines, Ha, when you are limited?
Thank you very much. Yeah, time constraint is always a problem for teachers. So I personally think that we need to do some trade-off and some balance between like provide them an instant answer and having all the correct answer. And on the other hand, it is going to be about time to make mistake. So even if they make mistake and later on correcting it, they are going to it's gonna stick with them for longer. So I would not have chat talk for every lesson, but a lot of the time it is going to be like after lessons with grammar and vocabulary, then at the end, maybe before the writing or the speaking session, then I'm going to allow them a bit of time for silently talking and thinking, and doing the chat talk activity. And after that, it is going for more productive skill. Right. I hope it helped. Thank you.
That's a helpful idea. Itche and Bang, have you used these visible thinking routines at all?
Yes, it's not always easy.
Yeah,
Fine.
yes, may I share one thing for the timing? And that is one thing that most of the CELTA candidates, they must have been kind of struggling a lot to be able to manage the timing. Yeah, for me, if I may have a chance to tell you, one thing is know the timing, first of all. Instead of like flowing and going the structure, we need to understand, okay, what time are we now at? And then how many minutes should we provide them more and more? So knowing the timing may be able to manage that step. And the second one is go around and around and around. So without having any observation, it is totally hard for you which time would be the best time to stop the activity, so that it would be really nice. And then anyhow you can help them while you are going around and monitoring. It is one kind matter that we should do. And that please remind them, okay, for example, everyone 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
So that they get some awareness. Okay, we need to finish it up a little bit because we still have only 3 minutes. Everyone, you get only 2 more
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
things
good.
like that. Those
Yes.
tips would be helpful for you, hopefully. So 3, timing and observation, and reminding them could be really nice, possibly.
Cool. Thank you.
idea maybe. So I think that repetition is important because the first time and the second time it can be messy, but
Mhm.
the third time when they already know the routine, so
Mhm.
they're gonna follow up it much nicer, easier. So I would choose maybe 1 or 2 or 3 routine and then apply it across the semester or the whole classes. So I
Mhm.
would have
Mm.
some personal favorite and do it over and over.
Mhm. Yes.
That's actually a really good idea, yeah, because then you're not having to explain so much at the beginning. The students can get into it more efficiently. Great.
Yes.
Okay, now I want to
yes.
move on. Oh yeah, Itche, sorry.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay. Okay, I'd like to move on for a question for you though. Here it was about how we can help our peer instructors, other teachers in our school, improve their mindfulness. For this person says most new instructors don't have enough ideas of how to handle the students in the class constructively and maybe aren't aware of these mindful techniques.
Yes, I think the best way is sharing your own practice. You practice it first, then see how it impact to the students' engagement, to the students' confidence in the class, students' motivation. Then of course you can share to your friend. And when it's mindfulness is about state of mind, right? It's not something that we can share like teaching techniques. It's about our own readiness to be mindful, to understand about our own strengths and weaknesses and our students' strengths and weaknesses. And be there is so important. That's number one. Be there. Listen to them. Listen to our students. Because students come to the class uh, to learn something from the teacher and to get something. That's why, first of all, they need to be respected. They need to be heard. And when they are heard, then they feel secure. And you can help other teachers by sharing your own experience. If there is no experience, it's not easy to share such a thing because this is about a state of mind. That's my answer.
Fantastic. That's really, really great. And just to follow up from that, another question about the mindfulness was how that we can keep that self-awareness when we're in the classroom. Do you have a checklist or something? How do you get into the habit of it really and just be constantly aware of it?
Mhm. To start with, I just need to realize how do I speak English? How I use English? Do I when I use English, do people understand me? Do my students understand me? That's number one of all. Mindful of our own English, and therefore, then it helped me to design activity which help me to not to stop using English, but using English. But I can sort of structure my language. Then it helps me not to use difficult language for my student. It
Mm.
is to be mindful on our own language will help us to design activity, to choose activity, and to look more on the objective. What is my objective in the classroom? That's the second thing. What's the objective of this activity? Oh, this activity help the students to develop their whatever. Then because I know my weaknesses and my strength, then I can design activity that helps me to run the activity in the classroom smoothly and still engage all the students. I think that's the beginning of mindfulness. Uh,
Mhm.
that's the beginning. The next thing that start me to be mindful is looking at my students. Looking at different type of students in my class is so important. And when first time I design a training for differentiated instruction 10 years ago, I was so amazed of how much I can do more for my students to help them feel confident in engaging themselves when I do differentiation in my process, in my teaching, in my materials, and my assessment. Because assessment is doesn't differentiated learning followed by suitable assessment doesn't mean that we lower down the level of the achievement of the students, but we simplify a bit in order that we can move up for those who are struggling in achieving the objective. So this is how I started, actually. Of course, long
Great.
time ago.
Okay, I'm afraid we're running out of time. I would just like to ask Ha and Bang if they have any last words they'd like to give to our audience today. Bang first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for this topic as well. Professor, and yeah. So the very first one that we'll be able to know is know ourselves. First of all, it's like we have quite a lot of checklists. We be able to put quite a lot of checklists as well, but one and only important person is us, we teacher. Without understanding anything about the lesson and the plans and the objective and our emotion, it will be really hard for us to manage it in the class. So that first of all, know yourself. Second of all, know your learners. Without knowing your learners, without knowing your learners, you're nothing. You may be holding quite a lot of certificate, but if you don't know who your learners are, no way. So yeah, that's why know your learner, so that we be able to create more creative, engaging, and mindfulness lesson.
Wonderful.
So yes, those are three things that I will recommend every single one who are in this webinar. Know yourself, know your learners, and create more creative, engaging lessons. Then it will be a perfect day, a mindful day.
Wonderful. And Ha, finally, have you got any final words for our audience?
Yeah, I personally gonna say that in this time of change and uncertainties, there are a lot of ideas and a lot of responsibility. So maybe each and every one of us, we need to look inside ourselves and then see what really matters. And then for me, thinking really matters. And then that is why I'm sharing my practices and opinion for today. So I hope that everybody gonna find their own gist of importance and then work on themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was so fantastic. We could have kept talking for another hour easily, but unfortunately, we have to go now. So I just want to thank you all once again. And now I'm going to give the details of the certificate for the audience. That was absolutely fantastic, though. Okay, so everyone, you should be able to see on your screen now details of how to get your certificate of attendance. First, you can scan the QR code on the screen to access our post-event survey. You'll also get the link in the comments section on Facebook. I believe Monica's popping it in there now, and in the thank you email for Zoom attendees. After that, complete the feedback survey, and once you've submitted the survey, you'll see a thank you message with a link to download your certificate. We recommend, if possible, downloading the certificate on a PC or computer, as it doesn't always work on mobile, although some people have managed to do this on a mobile, because you have to edit the name on your certificate. So you have to open the PDF in a browser. Then you can delete the placeholder text where it says name and surname and type your name in the grey box. And then you can save your personalised certificate. And we really thank you for providing your feedback. It really helps us to make future events even better. Okay, so we'll also be sharing a link to the session handout in the comments section on Facebook and in the thank you email from Zoom. And I'd really like to thank Ha, Bang and Itche once again for their fantastic insights. We've got lots more great sessions to come. Our next talk is in less than an hour now. It's 50 minutes with Joel C. Meniado, who's going to be talking to us about using generative AI for language teacher professional development. We really hope to see you there. Thank you once again to our fantastic speakers, and thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Bye, everyone.
Yes, nice to meet you, Pang and Ha.
And we can turn our cameras